Vicky, welcome back. I mean, first of all, your reaction to this?
A bit of a surprise, although there had been hints that this perhaps was coming. And indeed, as you've just been reporting, President Trump had said that it would be a terrible decision if that was to be the case, and that he did indeed have all sorts of other ways in which he could make up for any decision by the Supreme Court. So it's all to be awaited, really, in terms of what the real response will be. But it's interesting, you've just been discussing whether countries are going to start legal proceedings to get some of the money back, and not so much countries, but certainly companies that have been affected by this. That would take a huge amount of effort and time, and I would imagine that that isn't really going to go anywhere. But nevertheless, that would seem to be the logical conclusion of the decision made today.
By the sound of it, then, we are now in pretty uncertain territory, both economically, in terms of refunds, and in terms of politics.
Well, yes, and of course, once again, you wonder, I mean, obviously the US has changed the world's sort of trade rules simply by itself, by just imposing those tariffs. It'll be interesting to see what the WTO says, the World Trade Organization. But yes, indeed, we are in sort of uncharted territory, because we don't know how, the rule will be either accepted or even enforced. And that's not very good, because it creates all sorts of uncertainties. But what it does do, it emphasizes the point that many people have been making recently, which is that it is the consumers and the importers, the companies, that have been having to absorb those tariff increases. Yes, of course, it has helped the government in terms of raising funds, because it's been quite substantial, significant. I mean, if your average tariff goes up from 2.5%, as it was, to about 13%, you raise quite a lot of money, despite all the changes downwards that have happened during the year. But it is quite a cost to the economy and to businesses, and it's one of the reasons why what we saw immediately happen is that, in fact, there was a positive reaction in Wall Street, because it means that perhaps in the future prices won't go up that much, and also it means hopefully faster growth.
So a bad day perhaps for President Trump, but it might be rather good news for US consumers.
Yes, it might be, because the calculations again are that the US consumer, the average household rather, has been paying through 2025 about $1,000 more for goods than would otherwise have been the case, and the expectations were that they will be paying even more in 2026. Well, if for any reason that is reduced, but of course remember, we still have the problem of sector-specific ones, sector-specific tariffs that can stay there, and which can be argued they are protecting sensitive and sort of high security areas of the US economy. Those will remain, and maybe they will be raised. So who knows what the actual outcome would be. But overall, if there is any resolution to this, and at least would put a stop to any more sudden changes in tariffs of the type that we have seen over the last year, that would be a positive.
Very briefly, I mean, presumably it's too early to say that categorically this is the beginning of the end of tariffs, then?
I'm afraid so, yes. There could be other ways in which President Trump can find to still impose even higher tariffs for particular goods. And also, and I think again, as you said, he may find a different ruling that allows him to do those unilateral, if you like, and more general tariffs as well across countries, in other words, covering all goods, as he has done before. But I think it's one to watch. I'm afraid the outcome is very uncertain right now.
Vicky, good to see you. Thanks so much for coming on the programme again. Vicky Pryce, the international economist.